Hi, hello, welcome. Sorry, was not expecting that. Welcome to RealmSmith's Aftermath. I'm your host, Hillary Z. We are live. It is Thursday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. I think that's the thing I'm in. And this is going to be a spoiler-filled show. I know Jason likes to call it a slightly spoilerific, but it's really entirely spoilerific. So be prepared. It's going to be good, though. Couple announcements before we get started. As usual, want to thank our wonderful sponsors, Forged Gaming. They create all kinds of really cool accessories for if you're a DM or if you're a player. Very high quality stuff, super cool. They have provided us with a discount code. So if you use RealmSmith20 at checkout, you will receive 20% off your entire order. Pride merch is now available. So head on over to our store if you want to support us and the entire LGBTQ plus community. Head on over to Teespring. Good stuff. I got mine already. Just waiting for it to come in the mail. Join us Monday nights for our main title show, Into the Mist, live on YouTube at 7 p.m. Eastern. Last episode, the Dawnbringers made their way to a Stradstani camp with the young Arabelle. Spoke to an old dusk elf about a journey to the Amber Temple, and were surprised to be reunited with an old friend and his saber-toothed tiger. If you're interested in interacting with our live streams and helping create the story along with us as we go, consider joining our Patreon, which will give you access to the RP portion of our Discord server. We do have other portions of our Discord that you don't need to be on RP, so if you want to get together and just talk to an awesome community about a game that we all love, come and join us. But if you want to RP and possibly interact with the crew or the cast and go on adventures and participate in modules and all sorts of fun things, check out our Patreon. It's awesome. There's people role-playing 24 hours a day from time zones all over the world. We've got people in the Philippines, people in Australia, and everywhere in between. It's super awesome. Check it out. And just a reminder, we usually switch settings between seasons, but this time it seems that the mists have trapped us and we are unable to leave Barovia. So we will be in Barovia for another season, which I am personally super excited about because Van Richten's Guide just came out and there's so many good things in there that we're really excited to use. So it's going to be awesome. Okay, I think that's everything. So I think we can get started. Joining us this evening, we have the beautiful Joel Auger and the wonderful Jason Azevedo. Thank you for joining us tonight, gentlemen.
What's up?
Thank you for having us, Hillary.
Oh, yes. I'm glad that you could join me on my show that I do all by myself. So the way this is going to work is if you're in our audience and you're watching live and you have questions for Joel or Jason, go ahead and put it into the chat, prefaced by the word question in all caps, and the moderators will take them and put them into a chat where I can easily find all of them. So, are you guys ready to get started?
So ready.
I think so.
Okay, so the question forever is, where do I start? There's so many good questions. Hang on.
I like that.
Correct. There we go. Okay. So while the audience's comments are... Uh-oh, we've already got a question in all caps I'm seeing. I feel like we should just start with this one because I believe it's from the incomparable Omega Jones.
I just saw that.
Okay.
And it is in all caps. Why would Jay not allow the two healers of the group, knowing that this group has a history of struggle and needing said heals, to get a long rest? That's my question.
So I agree. I would agree with Omega on that question, by the way.
Yeah,
so I
'cause
will double up my points on the question asked. And if you just add my points to that roll, Jay, that'd be great.
It's because you're one of said healers. That's why you feel that way. Honestly, because narrative, and that's the answer. Just because it made sense. Joel is the one that has been targeted. And Omega happens to be part Fae. So they found that out and they kind of zeroed in on that fact. And I honestly didn't want to take out the healers, that's for sure. I do not target. The narrative targets. And that's what I'm sticking to.
But aren't you the narrator?
Yes, I narrate the narrative. The narrative builds itself, Joel. I just pull it from the ether and present it to everyone.
You say so, Jason.
But it makes it interesting.
It does. It does. It does keep it super entertaining.
It's funny because last Monday, Lillard said, what was the line he used? We always talk about it, the fact that death and death within D&D makes it real and makes it compelling. But he used the line.
Yeah, he said, there needs to be some blood in the water.
Yes, he did say that. And he said something else about that too. He said there needs to be blood in the water because, and then he said something else as well. But anyways, it was great, and it's true. Like there has to be. When we told him before this session, because he hadn't played since before Muskoka met his untimely demise.
Yeah.
Or again,
timely depends on.
We say timely because he's died before. So really, when is your time up? If you get
his second timely demise.
Yeah, his second timely demise. Yeah, and he said that he's like, it's great. It's good for the game. So, anyways, not saying you guys are going to die, but just saying that challenge like this, adversity builds character. That's what I'm sticking to.
It does.
Critical Bard said, unacceptable, slander, I quit.
Wow, that's a big hole. In a very short amount of time, we just really ripped a giant hole in the show, Jay.
Yeah, well, I love you, Omega. That's all I can say. And I love noggins and don't quit. But I'm still not getting rid of it.
All right, so actually, I think this is a good question to start on because it's a little bit off topic, but it's also right on topic. From Roman Wolf. So the mist trapped us, but really, why no tides?
Good question.
Yes, great question. There's a lot of reasons. The main reason is because we felt that there was so much momentum with Into the Mist and the Discord, and we had introduced all this new stuff that people were just getting used to in the Discord, that for us to switch gears and like rebuild the Discord entirely and try and rebuild all that stuff just didn't make a lot of sense at that point. We had felt like we wanted to kind of ride that momentum and continue to enjoy a world that people seem to be really, really involved in and invested in. So that was the first reason. The second reason is that there are some releases, including Van Richten's guide, that have come out that we really want to take advantage of while they're hot and relevant and current, as well as the Beetle and Grimm box that's coming out. So that was another business reason where we were like, you know what, we really want to be able to take advantage of this stuff when it's fresh. And so that is another big reason. Yeah, and frankly, we also felt, and maybe this is too inside baseball, but we also felt that, you know, historically, Into the Mist performs better, and people tend to, like, we have a bigger following for Into the Mist currently, and people were really excited about Into the Mist. So even when we announced it, we didn't hear, except that till now, we never really heard I think that people are just really, really pumped about Into the Mist right now, and I think it has a lot to do with the books coming out and all the stuff that's going on in the industry and in the community. So those are the reasons why, my reasons why. I don't know if Joel wants to add to that, but
yeah, I think there's some detail that some people at home may not know about, like, and that's what this show is for, by the way. It's kind of like to get the real nitty gritty.
Yeah. So
we did just release or just open up the Patreon kind of midway through the season. And because, you know, to Jay's point, the Discord is tied so closely to Patreon levels, and people had just started kind of supporting with Patreon, it didn't really make a lot of sense for us to pull away. Like, that's the detail really, is we are supporting our supporters, hopefully, by giving them as much gameplay time in this world as we possibly can. And it really would be a giant shift in game crafting for a bunch of people to switch over to Tides. And I'm talking about Julian and the Smith Guardians and like you, Hillary, like there's just a lot of work involved with switching worlds.
Yeah.
So instead, we take a 2-week break and we get an extra season of Into the Mist, which is awesome.
And that's a big one that I didn't say, was that the amount of work that is required to launch Tides with the same framework that we have for Into the Mist was a huge undertaking as well. So looking down the barrel of that, we thought, you know what, let's just reset, allow this to play out the way that it is with all the awesomeness that has transpired. And then Julian just sent me a note. Another good point is we just introduced 2 new characters with Travas and Noggins, and really not having a lot of time to kind of dig in and allow people to get to know them before we end the season. So anyways, lots of reasons, and that's why we felt confident continuing on with Tides.
And now they'll have even more screen time with Falford dead.
Yes, even more screen time with Dave losing another character.
Well, that brings us to a comment from Matt Machinsky, which I actually read to Joel before we started streaming because it was very poignant. If Falford dies, we riot. So let's talk about that. You took 29 points of poison damage. What's your max with all this haggling?
My max is 39. My max is 39 with Omega's with Noggins' additional bonuses of +5. So I was at 39 with my upped max. 39 with my upped max, and then I went down to 20. I think I was at 28, and I got 29. I got hit with a 29 damage poison attack. So I went effectively just enough to kill me.
Yeah, and you're also down because of the hag. So
that's right.
And I think it's poignant to point out, especially if Dave's watching, that nobody ever said they'd riot when Muskoka died. We love Muskoka, but there's definitely a psychological thing to dig into there.
Shade. Just throwing all the shade.
It's just an observation I was making. Just an observation.
I mean, I won't say anything about that except that I think it's true.
Nothing at all. You're not going to say anything except that. Yeah, you believe every word of it. Yeah.
Goodness, you guys.
You know that if Dave was on this show, he would be throwing double shade.
Oh man,
our way. So we get ours.
He'd be asking why I wasn't already dead.
Matt says, "Jay, don't put that heat on me."
Was he in the chat?
What's that?
He's in the chat?
No, Matt Machinsky said, don't put that heat on me for not saying it about Muskoka when he passed.
Sorry, there's so many Matts.
Yeah, there's a lot of Matts.
Although that said, I honestly do think that Muskoka had a very difficult story arc narratively, right? Like he went through a lot. So when he went, it made sense. It was not that it wasn't shocking, because it was, I'm assuming. But with it was like almost like a natural progression of the story arc. So it was a little less jarring, maybe. I don't know. That's my thought.
Also, I'm sure that the fact that we just lost somebody is adding to the anxiety of losing another person. And actually that leads into a question Matt Machinsky also asked, given that we already lost Muskoka, how nervous are you knowing Falfur only has 1 save left to roll? Question for both of you.
Okay, so here's where the real inside baseball happens, because I have a question for the DM. So I am a halfling and do have halfling luck, which is a feature of halflings. Okay, and this is what the player's handbook says. Okay, so rolling a 1 or a 20. When you make a death saving throw and roll a 1 on the d20, it counts as 2 failures, right? If you roll a 20 on a d20, you regain 1 hit point. So, but damage at 0. Sorry, where is it? Right here. Yes, it says, unlike other saving throws, this one isn't tied to any ability score. You are in the hands of fate now, aided only by spells and features that improve your chances of succeeding on a saving throw.
Right, now read your halfling luck rule.
Which is, I can use it on saving throws.
So, see, this is where the difficulty comes. So, first of all, it doesn't matter anyways because you forgot.
But you also
that's the first
DM.
point. What's that?
But you also forgot DM.
It's not my responsibility to remember people's features. But that said, so you forgot. That's the first point. Second point is... The rule says that it is not saving throw based. So it's interesting because your rule says that it is.
Well,
It's for saving throws, whereas the death save says, a lot of people say yes, it's a saving throw, but then it specifically says this isn't a saving throw that is tied to ability scores, and yours is ability checks, right? Like it doesn't say, it says saving. What does it say again? Saving throw specifically.
here's what it says. So it says on mine, it says when you roll a 1 on the d20 for an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw,
Yeah.
you can re-roll the die and must use the new roll.
Yeah. So then, but on the other one, it said that this isn't a saving throw as is applied to others. With death saves.
It says it is, first of all, the name of the paragraph is death saving throws.
Yeah.
So it's a saving throw.
Yeah. But
and then it says if I'm just reading here.
What?
Sorry again, I forget where it was.
I'm right.
Unlike
he's right.
It says unlike other saving throws, this one isn't tied to an ability score.
But it is still a saving throw. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But that is where the confusion
anyways,
of people have, right? Because it's like this
we
whole weird.
We can have that, that conversation further.
No, we don't have to. I agree with you. You absolutely would have been able to re-roll if you remembered your feat when it happened.
Okay. Okay.
I love you, but
no, you're right. It's my fault. I should have remembered it at the time, and so Falfer, if Falfer dies, then we riot. Just know that, Jay.
Just make sure you riot on Joel because it's his fault.
Oh man. Okay. So anyway, back to some questions. My question for you, Joel, I've been wondering about this. You seem to be struggling greatly with the decision that Sterling and Dimitri made after, with the fishermen. But then as soon as you saw Rictavio, you were like, yeah, let's do this. And you started fighting back against the Vistani. Mm-hmm. Why do you see this as a different kind of situation?
Well, in particular, I'm not deciding who to kill and who to keep alive. I'm more coming to the aid of a friend. Like I have no idea whether or not Rictavio is there to help out or to, like, I don't know the scenario at all. That the narrative that Rictavio is living through, I'm not aware of at all. So I see a dude, he's coming, he seems angry, but he's one of the very few people in all of Barovia that we do have a trusting relationship and has helped us in the past. So here I have these two friends who I'm losing trust in because I see them do something that I don't see as kind of in line with who they are or who we're trying to be. And I've been given the opportunity to be backed by and be around someone I do trust. And maybe I can regain some of that favor or regain some of that trust in someone that I did trust in the past. So that's kind of what's going on in my head as I'm playing Falfer.
Back to the death saving throw thing real quick for a second. Okay. Let me say this, though. If you had remembered in the moment and you had said, oh, I should use it, and I said, no, it doesn't work, and then we found out the rule was true, then I would have allowed you to re-roll it.
No, for sure. I don't think my expectation is not that you would have overturned it at this point.
I just want to make sure that that's clear. Like if I get a rule wrong, I will absolutely retcon. But you didn't bring it up. And
I appreciate that, and I do know that you appreciate the lives of the characters that are in the game.
100%.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't suspect that there's any. You're not just killing people willy nilly.
No.
I know that.
No.
No. I did. By the way, I did advertise publicly one of my other company's products while doing it. So I actually think it was a promotional mistake. and so lesson learned. I kind of won't do that in the future anymore.
Yeah.
It is a little ironic that the first time these new spinners were debuted,
I'm like,
so funny.
Oh goodness. Okay, so Critical Bard asked another question that I was actually kind of curious about too. What was Falfer's thought process on being too curious and having to go discover what was in that other tent and leaving the group in this bad area? He just had a convo about others doing things and then he screws up right afterward. His words, not mine.
Yeah. So it's very, I mean, when you have a given personality, even if you have the desire to do things in a specific way, your brain and your behaviors don't just automatically change to that new way. Yeah. So I have to consider the adventurous halfling nature of the character. If I don't, I'm kind of betraying his background. And he's the guy whose face got mashed and hand got chewed when he went to the mimic door season 1 ahead of the group when he should have stayed behind. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like there's just, it's happened many times. And it's just the adventurous nature of him having been trained by his dad, who was a trapper, and wanting to explore and pioneer new areas ahead of other people. It's just a mistake he's going to make over and over again.
Yeah, I see that. Question for you, Jason. I think that you played Arabelle so well. It's very obvious that you raised a daughter. She was so cute and sassy, and I love that you made her so fierce.
Yeah.
But hang on, I gotta find my question. She seemed pretty upset at Falfer for condemning Sterling and Dimitri for kind of taking out justice on her captor.
You're beating me. I was going to ask this question later. Good question.
What was she feeling in that moment when she turned around and put her hands on her hips?
Yeah. So the text, the original module, says that she is fierce, that she is feisty, that she is much older than her personality is just much more mature than she is in years. So I just played that through. That wasn't me. That was just what I was told by the text.
You still deserve a little credit.
What's that? Thank you. Thank you. That said, there is information about Arabelle that the party doesn't know, that also leads to that. So anybody who has, no spoilers in the chat. And when I say spoilerific, semi-spoiler, it's because we spoil stuff that has happened in the past. We don't spoil stuff that's going to happen in the future. But that said, there is something within her lineage that kind of pushes towards her being a bit more confident, a bit more feisty. That's all I'm going to say about that. That part. When it comes to Sterling and Dimitri, she's Barovian. She's grown up in a family that absolutely believes in physical justice, given her father is Luvash, and you saw by the person who was being whipped that that is a common thing. So she would be somewhat desensitized to mercy, I guess, and would be kind of understanding of what justice is. And they are a Stradstani camp, as we know. So that also kind of educates that. And he just had her for a week. Who knows, tied in that bag or captured for a week. I mean, if I had that opportunity and I came out of it, I can't say that I would have acted any differently when it came to a person that has made my life hell and captured me and tried to drown me. So yeah, I mean, that was my thinking on it. That, yeah.
I don't know if it's something that you can or want to talk about, but you did mention the Dusk Elves mentioned they had been searching for her for weeks. Mm-hmm. So what happened during those weeks? Is that something you can talk about yet?
No, it's not. But in the text, again, it shouldn't have been that long. So the way that she's acting and the way that she responded absolutely would have gotten more fierce and more dark the longer she was captured. So I did take that into play. The fact that she had been, instead of it just being a couple days, which it was supposed to be in the module, by the time the players came back around to this is something that should have happened in the Vallaki time. So it was a much earlier balanced encounter for the party. They've just come to it much later. So I've had to adjust the encounter. I've had to adjust Arabelle and her mind frame, or mindset, I should say, and all of that kind of stuff. So that all played a part.
Okay, interesting. More to be revealed in the future.
Yes.
Let's see here. When Falfer was expressing his unhappiness at Sterling's swift execution of what Sterling sees as justice, Falfer was reminded of the pie incident. On the surface, Falfer didn't seem to feel any sort of guilt or regret and defended his decision. Is that really how he feels, or is he hiding something?
Spoken like a true addict.
Yeah, exactly that. It's something you hide, and you don't like to talk about. You don't like other people pointing it out. You're oblivious sometimes to your own errors. Yeah. Again, I like to play the characters like as if their conditions are real, like their environment and psychological condition is something that is true. So that's exactly right.
And I will say regarding that, because I don't know if we'll come back to it again, but I will say that actually Julian just this week said that was a huge turning moment, not only for Falfer, but also for you, Joel, as a player, to be able to dig into that and then actually come against the other players and use the information. Because oftentimes in Dungeons & Dragons, we're just friends because we're friends. And in fact, like, you know, when a new person joins the party, the party just welcomes them in because they know that they're played by somebody who is a friend. Yeah. And I want to echo what Julian said, which was that was a really proud moment, an awesome moment. Fine, you know what I mean? Like for you to be able to say, you know, I'm going to allow the world to educate my character and the way that he interacts with people, and the fact that he took that to heart. I've always said that the best moment in D&D for me ever, and this, I mean, not saying that this is the moment for you, because I think this moment came much earlier on in our D&D world, but is when somebody says, "Oh, I can do anything. Like I have control over my character," and they start to really allow and be immersed in the environment that's around them, and that was an incredible moment. So thank you for doing that, because
it's one of those awesome environments where you get to just imagine what it would be like if my response wasn't just what everyone wanted it to be. You know?
Yeah. No, totally. And it adds tenseness to the stream and the story and the narrative, and again, it makes it feel like it's real people with real emotions who don't always get along.
Yeah, totally.
It's really cool.
Jay, were you surprised by Sterling and Dimitri's reaction to the fisherman? I don't remember his name. I'm sorry.
Yes, I was surprised. I thought Dimitri would do it. I had no idea Sterling would do it. I thought for sure Dimitri would exact vengeance right then and there. We know he's a vengeance paladin. We know how he feels about that sort of thing. We saw it with the coffin maker. And so I wasn't surprised that it happened with him, but what Sterling shocked me. Yeah. Yep.
Same.
I think he's surprised all of us in the last few weeks. Critical Bard says, I've said it before, but Noggins very much is paying attention to the actions of the party. Deeply paying attention.
I get that sense from Omega as a player in general. Yeah. Like he is a highly attentive person and player. Yeah. So it's like we have been better players, I think, since Omega has joined the stream, because he's upped the level of awareness of the game, of the environment, of himself as a player, of the other players. You kind of are like, oh my goodness, am I playing well enough for Omega to like it right now? You know. So there's that. Not to mention he is, by the way, the behind the scenes stuff, the stuff you guys don't get to see at home, where we're just like on the streams together, like in Zoom, is just so fun. One day we do have to open that up to patrons and stuff.
That'd be fun.
It's so entertaining.
Yeah, I gotta say, I definitely noticed a shift in everybody's play when he joined. I feel like I saw it too when Esmeralda joined, or when Nora joined. Everybody stepped up their game, and then when he joined, everybody stepped up their game again. And I gotta say, I love how everybody stepped up their cosplay game. in the last one.
I'm not sure I would call hats a cosplay opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to lessen Omega's like
actual work.
Yeah, his
Oh
effort.
yeah, no. Omega's cosplay is real. All of that
Yes.
half silliness was
Yeah.
silly. And
Hey, no. In fairness, though, my hair was half real.
Yeah, that was like absolutely. That was like a
Because
30%.
it's Falfer. I mean,
yeah, that was a third.
like-
That was a 30% cosplay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's 30%.
Yeah.
I would say a good 30%.
Yeah,
I
hats were
will
like
always
3.
picture Falfer now with like lint in his hair.
I actually sent a text in the casting crew or a message in the casting crew channel on Discord this week and said they have to cosplay their characters when RealmCon finally happens, whatever that is.
Totally
Full
gonna
cosplay.
do that. Totally gonna do that.
Yeah.
100%.
And I will say though that, you know, when your friends around the table, sometimes it's difficult to really get immersed because of the history that's there, the joking nature. You know, it's hard for us sometimes to see past the person I've known for 25 years and shared life with and gone through, you know, sorrow and happiness. And like Dave and I have known each other for like 25 years. Joel and I have known each other for over a decade, right? So it's hard sometimes to put that aside. But when somebody comes in and like really takes the game super seriously and it really motivates, I would say, the rest of the party to really be like, oh, okay, yeah, we're on board. And I think it's really elevated the game.
Agreed entirely. One thing I'd like to know, Joel, is Falfer's been giving Travas a pretty hard time.
Mm-hmm.
Making sure that he knows, like, you're not quite here yet. You got to prove yourself. But then when he started having a problem with Sterling and Dimitri, he was the one he automatically gravitated to. Why him?
Well, just because it's like, I mean, again, it's like a brother. You know what I mean? Like you don't. Yeah, he's new to the thing. He's trying his best. Falfer can see that he's doing his best to try to, like, he's a fan. You know, he's like a roadie that's not quite in the band. You know, and he wants to be in the band, but he's a roadie. He's your guitar tech, and it's just like, okay, fine. You two idiots are causing the band to go down. I'm gonna go hang out with the guitar tech right now because he's the guy who wants to be here most. You guys don't want to be here. So I'll be with someone who wants to be here.
Yeah.
Bassist and the drummer are fighting again. I'm gonna go find that kid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd like to know, Jason, how much fun you're having tormenting Joel with Hex.
Like the most fun I've had yet playing D&D.
It's
Like not the most. I don't know about that. I'd have to really think about that. But like it's my, in case anybody didn't notice, like this sort of genre is my bag. Like I just love it. I love the creep factor. I love that thriller sort of dark stuff. So it's been a lot of fun. And Joel even said, like, he sent me this really encouraging text after the last time that it happened, and just said, like, dude, you need to do that more because and that's to his character. So but Joel being able to kind of step outside himself and say, you know, Jay, you really need to do that more. That's what you do best. And I'm not great with the rules. There's a lot about D&D that I don't do well. But I really, really enjoy, and I think it shows when it comes to that creepiness. So I've dug in case you didn't notice, that last couple of sessions, I'm really digging into kind of the storytelling narrative part of things. And I love it. I really enjoy it. And I do love cliffhangers, clearly. And I do love twists. I love unexpected twists. Because again, it keeps people on their toes. So.
And you're good at it, Jay. It's terrifying. But you're really good.
Thank you.
But it's so terrifying.
Just wait to see what I have said.
Yeah, you just
wait till I have for next season. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, you just never know what's coming around the bend, and it's just like crap. You get very scared because of it. You know.
Yeah.
So.
And Joel's the guy that doesn't like horror stuff.
I really don't.
Like he really doesn't. So and Dave too. Actually, Dave maybe even more so really doesn't like creepy, scary stuff. So it's just even more fun for me.
Yeah, I feel like a 12 or 13-year-old boy who's cracking open the Monsters Manual for the first time. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's fun. I love it.
Yeah.
William O'Connor just asked a question for Jason, but I'd also like some input from you as well on this, Joel. How do you feel with the very evident frustration Falfer is showing at the inability to do anything about the hag? Joel's voice to me just rings with very real frustration.
Yeah, Joel, you first.
Well, first off, it's because I'm really frustrated. So thanks for noticing. That worked. And my message is being heard. Yeah, but at the same time, it's up to us as players to kind of try to figure it out. And we're not going to, and this has been a tried and true rule of Jason's DMing style, and even Julian, I would say, as a co-adventure maker, they're not going out of the way to just give us the clues, the tricks, the tips to make things work. It's like, nope, you guys are gonna struggle through this until you figure it out. So much so, in fact, that there was a persistent rumor about Fire doing something against hags that we've been following just because someone in the Discord said it on a conversation once, and no one knows if it's true or not, but we're doing everything, even following fake mythology.
It's so good.
To try to beat it.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I love it. And obviously the heat is turning up on the hags, and for reasons. But again, like as a DM too, it's frustrating for me a little bit. It's hard, right? Because as a DM, you constantly have like rules as written and what the rules are telling you to do, but then what's better for the story and what's fun for the players. And you're always, at least me, I'm constantly fighting within myself. I have this inner battle going on about how to allow things to kind of happen and what's the best for the stream and the players and for fun factor. And rules are kind of usually secondary, as most of you already know because I hear it in the comments. But for that moment, it's like that saving throw that you do. Do you do saving throw? Do I ask you to do a saving throw?
What? Yes. Oh, no, I didn't do. Oh, wait. Yes, I was doing.
You do, right? When you wake up, you do a saving throw.
Yes.
Yes.
I do.
Okay, thank you. That saving throw is the win condition, right? That saving throw is your ability as Falfer to be able to not take the damage that you do. But sometimes that's not enough. It seems like it's not enough. It's like, oh, okay. But in the moment, the rules are very clear with the nightmare haunting that a hag can do, that it just happens. And as long as you don't succeed that saving throw, you suffer from that effect. So yeah, it's tough for me, but it's fun as well at the same time. And again, like adversity adds tension, it adds story, and I think it makes it better. So
for sure. I agree.
Got a comment here from Mike Lewis. I, like Joel and Dave, don't enjoy creepy/horror, but the storytelling and character play you all provide make Into the Mist intriguing regardless of category. Very well done.
Wow.
That's a really sweet comment, Mike.
Super kind comment. Yeah, thank you.
And I've actually heard that a lot, that people don't like horror, including yourself, Hillary.
Yeah.
That really enjoy still watching our stream. So it's finding a balance between like really bad. Well, I had a Gollum baby, so I mean, really, let's be honest. I'm not sure how much further you can go, but people do. That was dark. But people do really enjoy it still, I think. And
you actually no, Jay. It wasn't just that you had a Gollum baby. You killed a player character by way of Gollum baby. Like that's not normal player death. That's like a special ability that only you can find.
Oh man, I wish you could see inside my head for the future of what I have planned.
I mean,
you guys do. I think you guys strike a really good balance between interesting, not stereotypical horror. You make it really refreshing and interesting, but then also you guys bring so much levity to it that it's really fun to play. It's a great balance, or watch. It's fun to watch. I don't get it. I'm not playing, but you know what I mean.
Thank you.
Yeah. Elder Barbanegra himself wants to know if Jay is challenging Jules for kill count.
Oh,
If I'm
challenging Jules for kill count.
Jules for kill count. No, there's no challenge. I kill people once a season. He kills people once a quest. So I think we're far off.
It's Barovia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, again, there needs to be blood in the water.
Yeah.
It just happens that Jules likes to bring out the blood a lot.
Yes.
Let's see here. Now that the group's collective innocence is bleeding out, question from Julia Taylor. Now that the group's collective innocence is bleeding out, will you pull a new innocent in from another realm to try to balance it out? Backup character, maybe?
That's a very good question.
No, I don't think so. Like, I don't... As a DM, and Joel kind of alluded to this earlier, I'm sure would say it again, that I don't force narrative that way, right? Like, I allow players to feel what they do and go in the direction that they are supposed to. And I mean, the module is very clear that nobody comes out of Barovia the same they went in. And that's what we're seeing. It's taken 3 seasons, but things are starting to unravel a little bit. And people are having change of conscience and thoughts and ideas and beliefs. And I think that's just part of Curse of Strahd. That's part of Barovia and what it does. And no, me kind of balancing that again, my balance is humor, right? So my balance is humor and joy and kind of ideas or thoughts of light and hope is a big one. But apart from that, I'm going to allow the players to kind of go whatever path the characters kind of lead them. Yeah.
Michael Zebley wants to know, Joel, if you have a backup character prepared in case Felfer doesn't make it.
I have, as it turns out, I have many since the last time Felfer went down. When Plunk went down, in the Season of Tides, I just started building characters, and now I'm doing it out of habit. I got an expanded D&D Beyond account because of our support from D&D Beyond, so I can make as many characters as I want now, and so I have several backup characters in case I need them. Now they'll all need to be vetted by the team, so there's none that I could just create and they'll just let me do, I'm sure. But yeah, I'm okay with that.
I'm sure nobody's going to give your new character any problems. They accept it with wide open arms.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Michael Zebley wants to know, Jason, if you're starting to worry that some of the player characters might start becoming murder hobos. That was a loaded Joel.
I would replace worried with convinced. I'm pretty convinced that they're going to start becoming murder hobos because they have. That last session was a pretty murder hobo moment. Ish. Murder hobos walk into a tavern and then just start killing people. So that's the definition of murder hobo. No, I'm not. I'm not worried actually, because I think our players aren't minded that way. Our players play their characters the way that their character should be played. I am blessed and honored to have the cast that I do because they actually do that. None of them would just walk into a tavern and kill somebody just for fun and just to mess with the narrative and the world. So no, I'm not worried at all that they become murder hobos, but I am convinced that things like this will continue to happen as we move forward. Yeah, for sure.
Joel, where do you think the dynamics for the relationship between Felfer and Sterling are headed? Because that was kind of a heart-wrenching moment when he was like, you know what? No, I can't walk with you anymore. Put me down. I was like, but no, buddies.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I think we're at a crossroads. Me and Dimitri and Sterling we're at odds with what we see as necessary to get to the end game. Like I am playing Falfer like as if he sees there still being actions towards the light to get Sterling out. And I'm playing him as though it looks to him like Sterling and Dimitri are choosing the darkness to eliminate Strahd, only to become more like him. So that's the real challenge. Like in a battle, you know, I've read some really, really dark novels and historical pieces on wars and what it's like to be in a war and having to do things for your team that is just are atrocious, that you wouldn't do otherwise, but you're made to do because of being in that war. And it's a despicable thing to have to do, you know, and humans have done it for countless, I mean, since humans have been around. So it's we're complicated beings, man. We're so strange.
Yeah, and Falfur's functioning from an experience as coming from Darkon. Like, he knows what it's like to be part of a Dread Realm where there is no hope. And so, you know, whereas Dimitri and Sterling are feeling it not for the first time, because they've been through their share of torment and pain, but it's very different perspectives.
Yeah, certainly Eberron and a loon, right? It's a loon that they're much more light worlds or planes of existence than the Dread Realms, for sure.
Yeah, I think they're both from a loon, but the Warforged shell came from Eberron. Yeah.
So we have two similar questions from a couple different people. Del Rail Navarre. Are you planning on a season 4 being the last for Into the Mist, or do you see enough content for a 5th? And Scruffy Nerf Herder says, how much farther into the Mists is this party going to go past the Strahd storyline? Darkon, Lamortia, Nightmare Lands, I want to see it all.
Great question.
Yeah, good question. And I get to be here for the DM's answer, which is nice.
Yeah, I have to be selective in my answer here. So, I mean, this is supposed to be an adventure for a party up to from 1 to 10-ish, 9 or 10 level. These guys are only 7th, and they're not going to necessarily jump the levels that are necessary probably to finish it within a season. Levels are supposed to slow down. So I don't think 4 will be the last one. It really depends on how 4 goes. So I think we'll probably have a 5th, but I'm not sure how long necessarily it'll go. That's that answer. And also, we've been playing ahead of the narrative the whole way from a level perspective. I've had to adjust a little bit, and I feel like the book is a little light on the challenge rating based on what they say the characters should be. At least I've learned that moving. So yeah, I think we probably have another 2 seasons in us, probably, but not totally sure. As far as the rest goes, I don't know yet where they're going to go, but after this last week, I have been having some revelations / ideas regarding where I'd like that to be. You know, there's a possibility they could be bounced into another realm. Outside of the Dread Realms, it's possible they could be bumped into another Dread Realm. It really depends on where we're at. I mean, that's at least, if we do Tides in the middle, that's at least, 6 to 9 months away. So, or even maybe a year. So we don't know necessarily what books will be out, what worlds will be there. But, I'm trying not to make a decision on that yet, because we're still early. But I'd love to spend more time in the Dread Realms, that's for sure.
For sure. Falfur's at home in the Dread Realms, so yeah.
Back home.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say it as cool sounding as you do. So just to muddle waters even more, Kelly Preston wants to know, Joel, if Falfur had seen the saber-toothed tiger cat attack the children, would he try to stop it? Even though one is his friend and one is these people he doesn't know,
I mean, I think he probably would have, like, or asked Rictavio, like, what are you doing? Certainly, like, right now, Falfar is going based on who is taking action and who he can trust. He certainly trusts this band of dusk elves and Strahd followers less than he does his actual battle compatriot, you know what I mean? So that's kind of where he's at right now. All of it could change based on the given information at the given time. So yeah, it's that's why the narrative picture that is being painted is so vivid, is because we really do we rely a lot on what the cues are from our storyteller, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's interesting too. I'd like to know, Joel, what separates in Falfar's mind them taking vengeance on Bluto for having Arabelle and trying to drown her, and Rictavio unleashing a saber-toothed tiger on the Vistani. Like, how does he consolidate those in his mind?
yeah. Well, I think that first of all, he wasn't there to take action with Arabelle in the boat, because he was on shore. So
he didn't see it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So when it was like, I didn't have a chance to, I'm just thinking as Falfar here, I didn't have a chance to convince them to do otherwise. Why would they have gone and done this, you know, without some further investigation? Like, had they considered everything? I wasn't a party member at that point. They chose to do this on their own.
Yeah.
And so when they came back to shore and we learned about what was happening, it's like, wait a second, you guys are just willy-nilly killing people? So it's like, it was almost like a family decision gone awry, you know, like, we're a family and you guys just go and do this by yourselves. So that's a little bit of a different scenario than you know, you're reminded of past support from this person who's was there not all that long ago, who you could really use right now, like as a friend and ally, because you're kind of losing out on what your family is doing. They're not really there with you.
Yeah.
So that's why I immediately was like, oh, finally someone I could trust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess true, to the point, the Strahdstani are loyal to Strahd. You know, they've done bad things. It's a known enemy, whereas Bluto was an unknown enemy.
Yeah, just unknown, and I was unaware of the real reasons why it needed to happen.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
I want to know why your initial reaction when you saw the saber-toothed tiger was to laugh. What was going through your head at that moment?
Well, I rolled on a perception check, which was a 24, I believe, at that point. So I immediately knew who the tiger was, what the tiger was.
Who it belonged
So
to, yeah.
I was like, Rictavio's here, and I just chuckled because, oh, that's awesome. Yeah, right. He's the saber-toothed tiger guy is here. I just thought it would have been amusing to Falfar in that instance.
Yeah, I'd see that. Kelly Preston is leaning into the gray areas that we so very love, and she wants to know, Jason, if there's any chance they will see a good werewolf in play.
They kind of sort of did. I mean, here's the thing. The books, historically, and according to the Monsters Manual, because of alignments and so on, it says that werewolves are always evil. And that has always been the thing. But I know D&D has been trying to kind of like not make such absolute statements or considerations on based on alignment and based on race and based on whatever. So for me, in my sort of world campaign setting, I do believe there's a lot more to a character than alignment. And you did see a semi-good werewolf. It was dealt with, the party doesn't know this, but it was dealt with by the Discord and the Vistani, who are part of our player base in the Discord. And there were kind of, not necessarily good aligned, but better aligned, or with better motives, I should say, than others. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Werewolves aren't so much of an issue right now in Barovia because the Discord took care of them, which was great. But yeah, there's definitely a possibility. I'm not against flipping the script on supposed or assumed alignments.
You are quite good at playing in the gray area. Like, you have masterfully crafted one of the most morally complex encounters, with these elves being like, well, we're kind of being captive, but not really, but we need your help. But then Rictavio comes in. Like, can you just kind of take me through your thought process of creating this incredibly complicated encounter?
I'll tell you, it's mind-breaking a little bit. Like, it takes significant exercise within my brain leading up to the session to get it all right in my head. Especially because, being older in age, my brain doesn't work as well as it used to. So I have a hard time remembering things. So I really need to refresh before each session to make sure that I have it all straight. I love messing stuff up. And I was going to use other words, but I love throwing wrenches into things. I love, like, okay, the Vistani are bad, but the Dusk Elves I think are good, and then Rictavio just messes it all up. Like, I just love that. I love chaos, and I love presenting chaos like that, because they were on a good path. Oh, we talked to the Dusk Elves. They're great. The Vistani are happy. Well, just throw a saber-tooth tiger in the middle, see what happens. I love doing that. I love throwing a grenade in the room and just kind of seeing how it all plays out. And again, it's like, I've learned a lot from Matt Mercer in his approach to storytelling. It's like, not everything's black and white. There's a lot of gray, and it's really up to the party to decide what black and white is, or where those gray areas are. And again, we're seeing that now, right? We're absolutely seeing that now with Sterling, Dimitri, and Falfer, and how they're kind of navigating that. So,
yep.
Does Falfer think there's any chance that they might convince the Dark Elves to fight with them?
Oh, I was kind of hoping that I would encounter a Dusk Elf kind of in my walking up to the tent, or kind of, but to no avail. The DM had other plans.
And then you get 29 points of poison damage.
Yeah, exactly. And he may never speak to a Dusk Elf in his entire life now, that the DM has chosen to do what he's done. And such is the pretend life of a PC.
Yeah. And I love harvesting those narrative seeds. Like, for me, I love to, like, I mean, I planted a seed first session, episode 1 of Into the Mist, of Aragal bringing you into the mist, knowing that whenever you came to this tent, now I thought you guys would come here like beginning of season 2 maybe, but now here we are at the end of season 3, and that character is now coming back. And that's so much fun. That's like my favorite thing to do. It's the same thing really with like Callie and the Abbot. The fact that, he was her guardian, or the the David that she spoke to. The fact that he was like a corrupted. It was so much fun. Love that stuff.
So fun.
And I guess I should ask this, because we get this question probably once a week. But where's Roan? Is he coming back?
That's a great question.
We get that
that would be left to be seen. I don't like leaving narrative pieces unraveled or raveled. I like to unravel things. So we'll see. I don't know yet, but that would be a massive spoiler if I said either way. So I neither nor confirm or deny.
There you go, folks. Straight from the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
You can neither confirm nor deny. So really not an answer.
Yeah, not an answer.
Okay,
Expect no answers.
I see we're a little bit past the hour, but we did start a little bit late. So I'm going to just ask a couple more questions, and then we'll probably got to call it for the night, even though I feel like we could just keep answering questions for hours. Okay, question for you, Jason. Nora started putting the pieces together of the, Erasmus outside and the cat. She started putting it together before it seemed like it was quite ready to be revealed. How do you as a DM handle a player figuring out something a little sooner than maybe you're able to reveal it? And advice to new DMs on how to handle that sort of thing?
Yeah, so it's tough, right? Because Nora knows Curse of Strahd, and she's read through Van Richten's guide, so she knows things about the story. But she's also a great player and really good at not metagaming. And there are moments, right? Like for me, this is a perfect example. The whole pie thing, right? Like I had real pies at the table. People ate them. I wanted them to have that visceral memory of what it tasted like to eat those pies, to then find out later that they're made from children's bones. But it took so long for that reveal, and it kind of lost its, and I think some of the players heard online and things, so it kind of lost a bit of its flavor, as it were, right? Like I think
Still as tasty as ever.
yeah. So like it's difficult sometimes. I think in that moment, I had a conversation with Nora before the stream, just to tell her, because I know some streams, like they talk about certain reveals and things. I didn't. The only person that knew necessarily was, and I won't even say what that reveal was, because some people at home may not even know what that is yet, because we left at the cliffhanger where it wasn't said 100%. But I did talk to Matt about the possibility of something happening, because just to prepare him for it. And I also told Nora, make sure that you read the backstory of Esmeralda and her history, just to be prepared for if that moment happened. And yes, she started to put those things together, but you can't, when you're dealing with story moments, like I plant those seeds, but it's up to the character or the players to kind of like, oh, okay, I didn't realize that would happen. And so you kind of have to roll with it. And yeah, so she started to come through it, but narratively, I wanted to make sure that it's such an interesting thing. Like I almost, when she went, I like spoke really quickly so that she wouldn't be able to, so that I could finish kind of the narrative part of it and then allow her to respond, which was the great cliffhanger at the end of the show. So yeah, it's tough to kind of sometimes manage, and the key is don't. The key is allow them to come to those kind of realizations on their own, and then allow it to happen naturally. And yeah, you saw what happened.
Yeah. All right. We still have so many good questions from the audience, but we really do need to cut it off. So since we have the two of you, and I don't know when the next time we will have both of you, I just wanted to ask, you guys started this company 4 or 5 years ago at this point? And it's grown quite a bit. We've created something that, you brought us on so that we can create something together. You have almost 25,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is super awesome. Where do you see the company in a year or maybe 5 years? Or like, what's your kind of dream goal for RealmSmith?
I see, I get to see a lot of things behind the scenes already that a lot of you guys don't know about yet. If you're watching this on Aftermath, or you watch us on Monday nights, there are other aspects of the business which are very, very interesting. I see RealmSmith in 5 years just making more incredible content in partnership with people at home. Like that's honestly what I see happening. We're diving into things. So a lot of you don't know this, but Jay's been doing game design for like a long time. And I've been in the gaming world for a long time as well, and own another company making games. And there's this thing that happens when you have whether it's a product or a show or a live stream or whatever it is, or a game, and you're able to engage with people at home in a real way, like you actually are entertaining people and they're responding to you. It's like this two-way communication. Once that happens, man, just watch out, like, because that's almost unstoppable if it's good. And so that's what I see. I just see more greatness between us and the people who are at home with us.
Yeah. No, and you took the words right out of my mouth. When we started this thing, we wanted it to be interactive. Like that was something from the beginning, just because it's in our blood. Like Joel and I are built that way. however we can gamify it, we're going to gamify it. And whether
Yeah.
it was, the attempt that we did with the adventure boxes or whatever it was, however we can gamify this thing to allow people to interact with it, the better it's going to be. And so there's no stopping us. Like, we're madmen. The only people stopping us really are the rest of the team who say, just chill, breathe for a second. Slow down. But for me, like, there's no limit. I mean, we already have a Discord, and it blows my mind how far we've come with this already, thanks to the help of our we call them technomancers, who do all the code and the aliases, and our Smith Guardians and the Realm Watchers, like everybody coming together, and we have a full community that is role-playing around the clock, crafting and doing quests and encounters. It's craziness. It's craziness
awesome.
what we've been able to accomplish in such a short time that nobody else is doing. Like, what we're doing with RealmSmith on our Discord, no one else in the whole industry is doing. And they will eventually, but right now we are really leading the charge on what's happening. And so for us, it's incredibly exciting to be kind of at the brink of something that is pretty incredible. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
The thing that I didn't expect when I started this thing, like we knew it would be fun, and we'd, entertain some people. We were good with production and gaming, and our whole team, just the cast alone is crazy skilled in a variety of different ways when it comes to production and talent and acting and all that stuff. So we have an incredible team. And then you add the Smith Guardians and the Realm Watchers and Julian and everybody else to it as well. It's become this incredible unstoppable machine. But that said, the thing that I did not expect is the effect that we would have on people during a global pandemic.
Yeah.
And literally every week, I get a message from somebody saying, you've helped me through this. If it wasn't for you guys, I don't know where I'd be. And so the mental health aspect, and we've now launched this RealmSmith Wellness Challenge as well as part of that. Like, I think part of our 5-year plan or whatever that will absolutely be evident is beyond the entertainment and interactive part is actually helping people get through life and connect and have community and family and belonging. And even though I didn't see that occurring, it's been a natural outflow and huge benefit. And in fact, the most important benefit, it's become our new goal. It's become my new purpose, is to try and help people to get through and to give them something that they can do and focus on and all that. So yeah, that's a lot to say. That thank you for everyone out there who has put your kind of trust in us to lead you down a road and a narrative and join us in this incredible thing. That there's no stopping it. Like we're it's crazy what we have planned. So it's very exciting, and I just thank you all for being a part of it.
Yeah, it's super fun.
Well, I think that is a great note to end on. And I just got to say thank you guys for everything that you do. You didn't have to open up your private game to the world or turn it into this amazing thing, but we are so glad that you did. And yeah, you guys are awesome. So before I go into my thank yous, as you know, I like to open the floor to you guys to talk about anything exciting and fun coming up. So what you got?
Joel, go ahead.
I'll start.
Yeah.
We have the Tin Hedrals Kickstarter starting on Monday. So the website, I think Dave just texted it to me actually. The website to do it is tinhedral.mithralarmory.com. So if you go to tinhedral.mithralarmory.com, then you'll be able to preview, like go to our Kickstarter preview page and be there for when it launches. It's going to be a super short Kickstarter. So that's super exciting. We've got a whole bunch of things happening on Kickstarter coming up this summer. There's a lot of things going on at RealmSmith, like behind the scenes, and I'm not allowed, I don't think, to share them. When will we? Jay, can we? No.
I'd say probably a couple weeks.
Okay. So stay tuned. There's some very cool other things that we're working on this summer, alongside major partners. I'll say that to kind of make happen, and so pumped.
Yeah, very exciting. For me, all of what Joel just said, and you'll be able to see some of the stuff for the Teenage Rolls and what Mithril is doing on Monday. We'll play the ad before and in the break and all of that kind of stuff, so we can talk about it more. For me, 4-hour episode on Monday. That'll be fun. It'd be nice to have an extra long episode on Monday. And I will say here first, because nobody has heard it yet, that Aftermath a week from today, it will be myself and Matthew Lillard on.
Nice.
And so we'll be talking about, I know, Hillary's very excited. But yeah, we will be talking about the box, the Van Richten's box, which will be exciting. And all of that fun stuff in BNG and just having a crazy conversation with Matt because we love to do that. Yeah, and I'm going to share a little bit of heart and inside baseball real quick with everyone, just to kind of let us go. I know we're way over, but I got, and this is super inside baseball and super honest. This is me bearing my heart and my soul. I got a message earlier this week that talked about equality on our cast, for example. Somebody had talked about the fact that we don't have enough female players on our cast, and that they wish that it was 50-50 and that there is 50-50 representation. And we get a lot of kind of difficult comments regarding some of the decisions we make, whether it be about rules or casting or all this kind of stuff. And let me just say that we're trying to figure it all out. When we embarked on this thing, we were a bunch of friends who knew each other for 10 plus years, and never with the intention of it becoming what it is. Never with the intention of hurting any feelings or not being sensitive or inclusive or anything like that. We were just friends who said, hey, let's record our games. And now we still have a lot of the same cast that we did when we launched this thing. And so for those watching, all I want to say 100% is that we hear you, we see you, we do the best that we can to support the community and what you guys represent, and we want to continue to represent what our community is. But just know that we love you. We're figuring out. We're gonna make mistakes, but we're gonna give you guys a hell of a good time while we do it, and we're in for it. So I want to say thank you. I want to say sorry for the mistakes we make, and I also want to say join us because we're kind of all figuring it out together. So that's it.
Awesome.
Amazing. Beautiful, beautiful way to end. So thank you guys for joining me tonight. Thank you so much to Julian in the background, fighting off the internet gremlins as usual. You do a great job. Thank you to the Smith Guardians. I know how much work you guys put in, and it's an unbelievable amount of work, and we literally couldn't do this without you guys. Thank you to the Realm Watchers for helping pick up some of the work that we have to do and helping just make our community a safe place for lots of people to be. And of course, thank you so much to our viewers. We literally could not do this without you. We love every single one of you. You have changed our lives as much as we've changed yours, hopefully. So on that note, love you guys. We'll see you on Monday as we venture back into the mists. Bye.
See ya.